Financial freedom seems to be one of the most talked about subjects, but yet I think it's one of the least understood subjects of all time. Welcome back to the My First Business podcast. This is a mini episode where I take some of the best parts of my interviews with phenomenal entrepreneurs and chop it up for you like a snack. In this bite-sized version, you'll be hearing from Maanav Sagar, who is an ex-entrepreneur and currently a VC. He's a partner at Bharat Founders Fund. I asked Maanav what and how he thinks about financial freedom, basically setting up a life where you have enough money that you don't need to work for it anymore. He was very thoughtful and very thorough with his answer. It's obviously something that he's thought about quite a bit. So I enjoyed his perspective. I think you will too. I think you'll get some great pointers in there for yourself.
I've started to talk to a lot more people about financial freedom and what it means. And just the thing with like the first business, no one ever has the same answer.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you on camera too, what does financial freedom mean for you? Do you even have it as a goal? And if it is, what does that look like in terms of qualitative and quantitative? And you can share numbers too. Like I'd love for you to share numbers if you can, and just open up about that, because there's no matter who I talk to, everyone has a different answer. And I thought your answer was pretty interesting. It had to do with infinity.
Yeah. And that's particularly with businesses in particular, when, like you said, number two was money, and money is important, and I'm in the business of money and I'm financially responsible for the money that I manage. And money is important because it gets you to financial freedom. And my recent how does like basic fundamentals of money or any business is cash in, cash out, right? You put some money in, you get something running, and then you take some money out, and then you keep repeating that cycle over and over again. And at a VC business or a startup, it's a little different. It's cash in, cash in, cash in, cash in, cash in, and then some cash out when you're building something large, and then lots of cash out.
How many years?
7 years, 10 years, depends on businesses. Some do it really fast in like 3 years. Mm-hmm. And these are two different types of business now we've spoken about. We've spoken about one, which is a venture scalable back company. That means cash in, cash in, cash in, cash in, cash in, and big flood of money coming out. And one in which you put in money today, book this podcast studio, take the money out, you made money on day one.
Yeah.
So honestly, it depends on what business you're in. But you as an individual get impacted by both of them. Because whatever one you're running, how do you move to a space where your mind is free from the stress of you making your next monthly paycheck? What can you do? So my idea with just like going about finances is, let's look at it backwards and how much money you're going to spend. When you post your 70s, 60s, you're going to spend less money. When you're in your 20s, again, your chart is just going up. When you're in that 30 to 50 window, you're probably spending the maximum amount of money because you're putting your kids into school, you're buying a house, you're making investments, and you're doing all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So this is the most critical period where most of us are probably right now in our lives, where we want to build something where we leave behind enough for our kids, because nobody's going to remember us after like 300 years or 200 years or even like 50 years or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But where we have built a mechanism where we are able to support at least till a certain point for ourselves, not worry about things. Now, my suggestion is to come to a point where you invest money into places which can give you returns enough for you to keep living how you're living today. So say you're making $100,000 collectively, or say 100,000 dirhams, because we're in Dubai, so 100,000 dirhams a month collectively. You're like, wow, we're able to travel with this money. We're able to invest a little bit of it. We're able to save a little bit of it. We're able to live our lifestyle, our house, rent, car, everything's done. We're collectively okay here. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying great. I'm saying okay here. I'm using that number just so that the multipliers can work a lot easier. It can be different for everyone. The thing is with money is that you can keep spending more, but you will stop enjoying it after a point. It'll become like something that you're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Will it though? I don't know.
So it depends from people to
I want to
people.
do that test. I want to see when I get
Yeah.
to 1 billion if I still enjoy it or not.
Yeah, well, you should, man, because I think but no, some people are obsessed with it, and that's a great thing. Like they like to buy certain things in their life, and it's fine. It's nothing wrong with it. But
Sure.
you go to that stage also with what you have. You always get to that stage with your base, so you always keep changing what you're buying as per what your base keeps changing.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we're assuming you're at a base at your 30s, which is this much right now. Like we're assuming that's the base you're at.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get for you to make that money every month, what you're okay with right now? Because now you apply a simple math to it, annual increment, say 10% every year, you're putting that on and on. You put a compounding investment return, average interest rate, say 7% year on year, whatever you're putting in. Add those interests with 17% bump, net every year, put that money on 100,000 a year, or say making 1 million dirhams collectively a year. That means 170 on top of it every year. 170 compounding goes up your ladder. You can calculate how much you're going to make at 50 if you keep doing the same thing today. Right now, you can do it.
Yeah.
And what you can do is your expenses. You can do the math. It's lovely. Yeah. It's not too tough. You can even code a calculator for this, or ask ChatGPT to do it for you, and they'll do it.
Yeah.
But what you need to do is try and understand the principal amount here, and that is your monthly pay. How does that come without you doing anything every month? What can you do to get that?
At the age of like 50, 55, whatever age you choose.
Whenever.
Yeah.
How you need to? You can try and put a target to it at 40. This is my financial goal, that whatever I'm making today at 40, this will be coming in monthly. And you know what that's going to do is it's going to help you invest in certain spaces where you find low risk, high risk, and medium risk investments.
Yeah.
And how I would generally think about it is taking out 10% and putting into very high risk. Because this is the money loss. It's lost. It's gone.
It's play money.
It's play money.
Yeah.
And the beauty about play money is it's binary. That means it's either 0
or 100.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's insane because if you get that 100, you're knocked out of the park. You're just going crazy. And if it's a 0, then you're like, oh shit. All right. But you need to understand
10% of your total.
Yeah.
net
Or
worth.
whatever. It can be 5%. It can be even 3%. But you need to be sure and comfortable with thinking that this much money in my life is not going to make any difference in positive or negative way.
Yeah.
You need to understand both of them. So and that's complete wipe off money. And that the beauty about that is that the chances of you hitting that just by math is quite low, but over a period of 10 years is quite still possible. So you might hit it. I'm not saying be crazy and go and buy a lottery ticket. Like don't do that. Be smart about high risk investments.
Yeah.
Make them where you think multiples can come.
Yeah, still do your due diligence.
Yeah, still do it. Like don't be dumb. Like,
don't be gambling with it.
Yeah, don't be gambling with it. Like I'm not saying do that. Like that's not how you can make it. So I am also a big believer if anything grows too fast, it's too good to be true then.
Yeah.
So you need to be sure about where you're putting in that money. It can be investing in startups, giving it to your friends. It can be thinking about maybe doing an 8-10% through. Some people think about crypto. Maybe that's an asset class which they think. I don't know much about it. But some can think about fractional ownership of businesses, thinking that it's going to give you fixed returns maybe, but maybe not. Maybe it becomes big. Maybe it becomes a chain.
Yeah.
And investing in startups is just one asset class on a high risk. There are quite a few other instruments which can go in high risk and you can invest in them.
All right, that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed that teaser. I think you will love the full episode. I'll leave the links in the description below, or you can head on over to my website. It's nparvez.com. Before you head off, I have just one more question to ask you. Why haven't you subscribed yet?